Yeah, no, it's been yeah, it's been unlike anything that you know you you get to experience. It was yeah, all of it. Just you know, you can't you can't react to something like that. And say, well, this is what you do when this happens. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. So you just kind of sit there and then you've got all these kids back with their families, and then the national team's here, and so you got to put on a happy face, and you got to do what you got to do. You know, that wasn't easy.
Geno, what do you think Kobe's legacy is going to be for women's basketball?
I don't think he got a chance to really establish one in our game. I think in the next 30 years he might have been for the next generation of kids that knew his daughter or played with Gigi, and now he gets involved at a whole nother level because of her. You don't know, but he was just getting started. We used to talk about what defensive drills to do. I said, what, didn't you pay attention all those years of practice? He said, well, I got to teach my team man-to-man defense tonight. All right. Nobody could score on him for 20 years, and he's asking me about defensive drills. We can't guard anybody. You saw that tonight. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he got a chance. He had a big impact on the world of sports. And, introducing the NBA to a whole part of the world that didn't know about it, and his businesses, and all the stuff that he's done. Those are things that will last forever. But, he probably would have had a bigger impact on his kids, more than anything.
So the tribute that you all had for Gigi on the bench, can you just speak a little bit to what she meant to the program with the years?
The first time that they were at a game, the old saying, she was like a little kid looking up at our players, and you could just see the look in her eyes, like she was so excited. Now imagine the absurdity of that your father's Kobe Bryant, and the most excited you've been in a long time is being around college women's basketball players. But that's what it meant to her. That was what she aspired to be. So in that room, the very first time, second time, after that it was a little bit different, but the very first time, so you got Gigi and her role models and people she looks up to. And then you got our players looking at her dad, like, So it was a real head-shaking scene, And she was, when she came up here on campus, it's like if she could have stayed, I think she would have stayed.
This team has been intertwined with USA basketball, your team, for a long time, and you've been part of that intertwining. Diana talked about the fact that you coached her U18,
Mm-hmm.
now to Argentina. So it's been that legacy has intertwined in such a significant way. Have you thought about not just the fact that these two are so tied together, but the fact that it's happened for such a long time now? Sue was talking about it's more than 20 years since she stepped on campus, and she's still here playing in a game like that.
Yeah. USA basketball has always been, for me, as like a reward. Like if you're ever good enough, as a coach, when you start out as a young coach, if you're ever good enough, you may get the opportunity to coach USA basketball, which, you know, for a young coach back in those days, I was like validation that, yeah, you're a pretty good coach because USA basketball really wants you to work with their program. And I think my first opportunity with them was in 1992 or 93. And I've been with them ever since. And when I started out, my first opportunity with them, I started out, my team went 0-3. You know, we couldn't win a game. I thought I was done for. I thought they'll never invite me back again. And then I'm probably the only one that could have Diana Taurasi and Elena Beard in the same backcourt and not win a championship. So I didn't really distinguish myself early on. But I've been probably so fortunate that so many of my players feel the same way I do about USA basketball. They, you know, they're 15 and they aspire to be, you know, Olympians, and they get involved in the program. And it's really tough for a young player to break into that because the older guys never want to leave. I mean, they would play until they're 60 if their bodies held out, but you know, it's not like the guys. You know, maybe you play 1 or 2 Olympics and then they're off. And with these women, you know, once they got the bug, they're not going anywhere. They want to keep playing year after year after year. And I'm proud of the fact that so many of them are UConn alums, and they're not just on the team for their looks. They're on the team because they're the best players in the world, and that's what our program's really proud of that. You know, we took the best high school players, we made them into the best college players, and then they became the best WNBA player, and then they became the best Olympians. That's pretty damn good.
Geno, can you just talk about the effort your team played with today? I mean, you play against a team that's so much more talented than they are.
During the first time out that I called, I thought we were going to get shut out. I was really worried that we wouldn't score. I really was. I was worried that we wouldn't score. You know, now I know what it felt like when I had certain teams and we played against other teams. You know, where we would switch every screen and you couldn't run your offense against us. You couldn't get a pass completed. You couldn't make a shot. That we used to do that to teams, and now tonight I was on the other end of that. And our kids, they hung in there. You know, they hung in there and they kept battling, made just enough shots, and you know, we were tied at halftime when there was half a win. Like, hey, for 20 minutes, we battled these guys. And hopefully the next 20 minutes, you know, we can battle them just as hard and get a couple more things done on offense than we did in the first half. And, you know, for the most part, you know, for 35 minutes, whatever it was, however long we held in there, we hung in there. And then, you know, we just wore out. They're just too big and too talented and too smart. You know, Crystal came over at one point when Aubrey was in the game. And she said, Coach, we should trap the ball screens. I said, sure, go ahead. And after like the second or third one, I looked at her. I said, how's that going? How's that working for you?
How about the way Megan played today? I know she really showed something.
And you know, to me, it's a great sign when you can get things done in a game like this, because that should give you a ton of confidence, no matter who you play against. You know, because scoring, getting buckets against these guys is not easy. So for you to, you know, to be able to score, you know, and be able to get to the rim and be able to make some big threes, and Meg's been getting better, you know, every week, and today was just another step in that process. You know, I was really proud of her today. She battled pretty hard.
Geno, over the last 24 hours, a lot of people have been sharing memories, stories about Kobe, about TV, columns, whatever. Wondering what your fondest memories have been
I would say probably when we were talking in Italian, you know, at one of the competitions, and here's two guys who grew up in the Philadelphia area talking about Italy because we both lived in Italy, and it was really kind of a neat conversation. And then we talked about his dad. His dad's my age, so we played against each other in high school, and it was just really ironic. It was really funny, and so that's something that has always stuck with me. And then watching him work out by himself on the off days at the Olympics, and having my team just stand there at their half of the court and just staring at him during his workout and just being mesmerized by how many shots, shot after shot after shot after shot after shot, went in. And I just shook my head and I said, that's why he is who he is. This is their off day. And he's in there, you know, killing it.
What did you see from Stewie tonight, and what really did you think?
I'm so happy she played. You know, she looked pretty good. I mean, she's not the same Stewie yet, but she will be. You know, she got in the lane, she made her first three, and she makes everything look so easy. But you could tell there's a little bit of gingerness about her. You know, she didn't have that, you know, come out of nowhere and do things that make you go, wow. But she's been looking forward to this for a long time. You know, she got a chance to actually play.
She said that she thinks USA basketball, or that UConn made her and USA basketball better. Do you think that your experience with USA basketball has made you a better coach?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no question about that. I've learned a lot about basketball coaching against some of the best international coaches and watching them how they play and how they conduct themselves and their style of play and I brought back a lot of that stuff with me and tried to incorporate some of it into our program. So yeah, I'm way better as a coach because of those 8 years, especially with the Olympic team. I really learned a lot, and I learned a lot from coaching my former players in their 30s. Maybe they learned from me in their late teens, and I was learning from them in their 30s. They were teaching me things about basketball that I wouldn't have seen because they've seen it all. So yeah, I would have to credit USA Basketball with a lot of stuff that we do. A lot of stuff.
You talked the last week or so with these games that have been building up of having the big game against Tennessee, the big game against Baylor, Tennessee, this game, and then you have another conference game, but then you have Oregon coming in.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about what you've seen of the team to get ready for another, if you will, one of these big games?
Yeah, and then I think the following week we're at South Carolina. The way we handled ourselves today was a little bit better than we handled ourselves 2 weeks ago. So in 2 weeks we made a lot of progress. And we're still not there yet because we're not mature enough to be a complete team yet. But our freshmen have gotten better, you know, in the last couple weeks. And it's given us some more options. The only way that we can get better in these games is to keep playing in these games. And, you know, a lot of times you learn, if you're smart, you learn from failure. And hopefully we have. And we're, you know, I mean, you look at our game, you look at our team sometimes, and we're out there and we've got 2 sophomores and 2 freshmen, you know, and it's a lot to expect from them, but they're getting better. They're getting better every day. And I wish I could have used some of that 9 and 10 team for subs. That would have helped a little bit.
You know, did you think this was another step in the maturation of Anna?
Maybe. Maybe, yeah. She made a couple big shots. She made a couple plays. She's still, you know, she's still a little tentative at times, you know, but little by little, she's starting to show more confidence in herself. And, you know, a kid like that, where she lived, and then people she watched play on videos or TV or whatever, and now she's on the floor with them. It's like a dream come true for her, you know. And I thought she handled it pretty well. I know when the game started, they were nervous as hell, man. They were scared to death, no matter how much they thought, like, yeah, this is so cool, you know. They were dying that first time out. The look on their face was like,
Anything else?
Gino,
Last question?
yes,
I
sir.
remember the game of being if Kylie McClain was out there now.
The game would have been a little slower. We would have been able to keep pace. You mean playing for us or playing for them? Both. Well, there were times when you held both teams, I remember.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.